Hey guys, Nyasha here, host of With Nyasha Michelle podcast. And listen, today, I am doing some content that my producer has told me we need to do. But it seems like y'all have actually been asking for it because we opened up our Instagram and asked you, the followers, to send us some dilemmas that you would like for me to answer. Now, I am by no means, a therapist or agony aunt or whatever it is that you need. However, I am going to try my best to let you know what I think. So let's start with the first dilemma, which is a professional dilemma. Let me read it to you. It says, Dear Nyasha Michelle, I am a 33-year-old man working a corporate job that I fought hard to get. Well done, you. After being unemployed for almost a year, finally landing this role felt like a blessing at first. But now, a year in, it's become increasingly toxic. That's not good. My manager constantly micromanages me, and there is a culture of blame, gossip, and politics that I try my best to stay out of. But because I don't engage in the drama, people have started labeling me as an antisocial and not a team player. The pressure is starting to affect me. Even my partner has noticed a change in my mood. Still, I haven't told her how bad work is. I know how society sees it. No woman wants to be with a man who's jobless or struggling. Society, we all need to come together and talk. I want to leave my job, but I don't have another one lined up. And after being unemployed for so long, I'm not trying to do that again. Financially, emotionally, and even in terms of identity. I feel stuck between my peace of mind and my pride. What would you advise? Guys, honestly, this is deep professional advice. No, I cannot be responsible for this man not having a job. But unfortunately, it's kind of something that we all have experienced in one way or the other. If you've never experienced a toxic work environment, honestly, thank God, because it can be really hard because that's the place where you spend a lot of your time in, right? So anyways, let's go back to this gentleman. So there's a lot of issues, I would say, in a place where there's toxicity, gossip, blame, politics. But I'm going to get straight into it. Listen, my guy, my advice would be do you. And by you, it looks like to me that you're a guy who's like, I don't need to be involved in this gossip. I'm coming here to do my job. I worked hard to get there. That's what you should do. Sometimes there's certain work cultures that are worth getting involved in, let's say if in your workplace it's like, hey, every other Friday, every other weekend or whatever, not necessarily weekend, but every other Friday, every other day, we try to all go for a lunch together. We try to go for a drink together. It is good to kind of be involved in stuff like that, like work culture that helps that synergy, that helps, you be a team player, essentially. You don't have to be at everything, but it helps to be at some of them. But then there's also other work cultures that are genuinely toxic and they're not good for your mental health. And I can't imagine how good it is to be struggling at work and then struggling at home. You're all the issues that has been happening at work, now you're taking it home. I'm a key believer in the stuff that happens at work. Whenever you can, leave it at work. And when you go home, it's time to just decompress, be at peace. And if it's not impacting you when you're at home, I don't think that it's good. So long story short, no, do not quit your job. Like you said, you worked so hard to get there. 2, no, do not get involved in their tactless blaming, toxicity. Leave that there. If they want to talk, let them talk. Haters gonna talk, baby. Because even if you were involved with all of this chatter, then how do you know they're not gonna go and say that, oh, he said this, he said that. Nah. Just leave it there and just focus on your goals. And the more you keep doing your thing, upping your skills whilst they're there in the kitchen, having a bit of tea and, talking about somebody else, then you're doing your thing. Before you know it, hopefully, you're moving on up either in the same company or somewhere else. So I've never been a person for toxicity. So I would say stay out of it, drink your tea, stay hydrated. And when you go home, enjoy life with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriend, and leave them to it. I hope that's helped. All right, here is a dilemma that has been sent through to what my producer is calling Dear Nyasha Michelle. All right, Dear Nyasha, I'm a 25-year-old woman living at home with my mom and 3 sisters. I love my family deeply and we get along well. But during family gatherings, my weight often becomes a topic of conversation. Ugh. I don't even know if I want to carry on reading this because honestly, people need to do better. But let's carry on. They'll say things like, you'd be so pretty if you just lost a few pounds. Or, why can't you be more like your cousin? My cousin is the same age as me and she has had that model look, flat stomach and curvy in all the right places. I've always been on the chubbier side, but it never bothered me until now. Lately, it's gone beyond comments. My family has started policing what I eat. What? Watching my plate and making little remarks every time I reach for food. I've tried telling them how it makes me feel, but they've just brushed it off with, we're only joking, or you're being too sensitive. It's starting to change how I see myself. I don't want to distance myself from the people I love, but also I know I can't keep absorbing these comments. How do I set healthy boundaries without starting a family fallout? Oh my gosh. Firstly, I'm sorry that you go through that, especially when it comes to, it's coming from your family. Why and how? Secondly, okay, I'm supposed to be, saying, I'll put myself in this position. I'm not going to say this is what you should do. But if I was in this type of position, I would definitely say you need to be firm with your family and tell them that this is something I need you guys to stop doing. I know you said that you've already told them and they're like, oh, we're only joking. No. When I was growing up, there was this saying, which I honestly, now when you think about it, it's like, why would people say that? Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words have no impact or something like that. The biggest lie ever. The fact that somebody can say something and it doesn't impact you. Of course it does. So my advice, long story short, would be you need to just tell them the words that you're saying to me is having an extremely negative impact on me. And if they love you, they need to respect you. And if you see that it carries on, you need to keep your distance. If that means not going to as many family cookouts or family gatherings, maybe, keeping you a healthy distance if they haven't respected you, or if that means really kind of filtering the conversations you have with them, do it. Essentially, it's you protecting your peace. I know there are some people who are probably going to be in the comments and be like, oh no, I don't agree with that, Nyasha. It's okay, argue with your mama. But honestly, mental health is a big thing and we cannot carry on this narrative where we think it's okay to be commenting on someone's weight and thinking it's a joke. It's not a joke. That's how people end up struggling mentally. That's how people end up, doing unthinkable things to themselves because you're making them feel like they're not good enough. She is perfect. She does not need the comparison with her cousin. That's even worse. Oh God, don't even get me started. I feel like that is worse. I don't know how y'all feel. If someone comes and they're trying to compare me with my sister or my cousin, trust me, it's not going to make me feel better. It's genuinely not. You can compare us on good things, but to try and make, why aren't you like that? Like her. Anyways, you can tell that I'm a little bit passionate about this because I just think it's out of order. So setting healthy boundaries, and if those boundaries are not respected, just stand firm. And sometimes only when we do that is when those people that we love and that love us realize, oh, wow, she's actually being serious. And maybe you see a bit of change. Dear Nyasha Michelle, I am a 28-year-old woman and I've been in a relationship with my partner for 3 years. We know each other's families, we pray together, and from the outside looking in, everything looks perfect. That statement, from the outside looking in. Anyways, for a long time, I truly believed he was the love of my life, the man God handpicked for me. Lately, I've started experiencing feelings that are making me question my sexuality. Feelings I've never fully explored or maybe never allowed myself to. As a Christian woman, this has been incredibly difficult to even admit to myself, let alone say out loud. I've found myself slowly pulling away from him emotionally, not because I love him any less, but because I feel so confused about who I really am. I feel guilty, ashamed even. God has blessed me with this amazing man, kind, God-fearing, supportive, and here I am, entertaining feelings that make me wonder if I'm even being honest with myself or with him. Would ending things be ungrateful? Would I be walking away from something holy and real? Woo, girl, I don't know whether to stay and pray this away or take time to get to know myself, even if that means letting go of someone who's been nothing but good to me. What should I do, Nyasha? Will God be angry with me? Am I betraying him? Or finally being honest? What a wow. Firstly, I've said this before. I am not the therapist. I am not Agni Ant. I'm also not Jesus. Okay? So please, please, please take my advice, if you choose to, with that in mind. And then secondly, thank you for, just being honest enough to send this type of dilemma, because it really is a dilemma, which is very serious. And what I would say, honestly, you kind of said it in like your message, which is like, do I take time away to get to know myself? That would be my advice. I'm not saying stay with him whilst you do that or break up with him whilst you do that. That's up to you, babes. But something like this, it's shouting a person who needs to know themselves. It's shouting, I need to take time off, maybe go on a solo trip, or maybe just literally just spend the next however long mainly with yourself and with God as well. And just being like, okay, God, how do I navigate this? Because also sometimes when we are in this space where we're trying to navigate certain aspects of our life and our identity, and we keep certain people in our lives, as far as they're concerned, everything is hunky-dory. But you've got your own battle that's going on. And as you begin to pull away from them, and as you're like struggling with this thing and they're completely in the dark, they will end up being hurt without them even realizing. And it's even worse because they won't know what is going on. I know that sounds like I'm saying you should leave him whilst you go through this. Again, like I said, I'm not saying it's totally up to you. However, I'm just saying that during that period, it's up to you to really identify, all right, cool. During this time, if I maintain this relationship that I have with this person who is probably in the near future wanting to propose and then get married and have babies and all of that stuff, is it good for me to keep them in the dark where they think everything is fine and we are moving towards this goal? Or is it better for me to just say, hey, it's not you, it's me, and you choose how much information you want to share? Just be like, I just need to take some time out. I need to take some time out. And actually, something that I would also advise within that is to understand that saying. Sometimes they say that there is no better time than now. Sooner is better than later. So imagine like you begin to explore this and try to figure this out when, you guys are like about to go down the aisle, or you've gotten married and you've got a kid. Whilst it's good to be doing that no matter what, I just think like the more you get involved, essentially, that's what I'm trying to say. The deeper you get into it, the more likely you, that person, and other people could get hurt. And the more likely you're going to hear someone saying, why didn't you tell me this before? Why didn't you tell me this before we got married? Why didn't you tell me before we had kids? Why didn't you tell me before we had a house? And then also another reason is that person, your man, could even be able to help you navigate it. He might be like, all right, let's pray about it together. Or, okay, I'm going to give you your space and you try and figure it out. Or he could still be extremely hurt. But to be honest, it's better for someone to take you as you are and understand that, all right, maybe this is what this person's going through. I love them. I want them to be in my life, but I cannot be selfish to stop them from being able to figure themselves out. So it's not easy. Like I said, I'm not agony aunt, but I hope that's helped. I hope it's kind of made clear. If I was in that position, I am trying my best to remove people out of the firing line, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. And I don't know if it's helpful, but yeah, let me know how it goes. That's all from dear Nyasha Michelle for now. And they say it takes a village, right? I know they say it takes a village to raise a child, but in this case, it takes a village for us to take care of each other and also maybe even share some advice. So if you have any words of advice for those 3 people, please put it in the comments. And if you also have your own dilemma that you would love for me to answer, either send us a DM or you can write your question in the comments as well. Don't forget, as always, to like, share, subscribe, watch and enjoy with Nyasha Michelle, either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye.